Hi everyone, welcome to the academic video for the Bridge Project. We have a lot to cover, so let's go ahead and get right into it, starting with a topic that you've probably heard about before, force. Our simple definition of force is a push or a pull onto something. And using that definition, can you think of some examples of force? Maybe pause this video and give it some thought. Some examples that we thought of were the force that it takes to open a door, gravitational force, force from friction, and even magnetic force. Obviously, bridges have super heavy cars and trains and people that go across them. They have to deal with the force of those objects in the downward direction in the form of their weight. So let's take force just one step further into the topic of stress. And no, I'm not talking about the type of stress that makes you want to pull your hair out, but the type of stress that helps engineers ensure that their projects are safe and strong. Its definition in the form of a formula is stress equals force divided by area. I know that may sound a little bit tricky, friends, but I promise it's not too hard. All that formula is telling us is that if you can spread out a force over a larger and larger area, the less stress that object feels, and the more you can continue to push that object's limits. And we have some awesome illustrations to demonstrate that. But before we show you those, we have to show you what causes stress. And the three main types are what's called tension, when an object is being pulled, compression, when an object is being crunched, and what's called torsion, when an object is being twisted. My little brother is being nice enough to help out with this demonstration. Watch what happens when I step on him with my tippy toes, which is supposed to resemble a small surface area and a relatively high stress. But now let's introduce these textbooks, which are much bigger than my tippy toes and should theoretically spread out my weight a lot better than having it concentrated on my toes. Let's see how these feel.
Don't feel it at all.
But let's try to relate this all back to bridges. Remember in the first video when we said that a log over a river is technically a bridge? Well, what we want you to do is take one of the balsa sticks from your kit, pretend it's a log, and we actually want you to pause this video and break it. I promise it's not very hard. See, on the single stick, all the stress is gathered in one place, and it doesn't take much for it to break at all. But that is where bridge and truss design come into play. I promise these are going to be much, much stronger. Trusses are a design of lots of individual pieces on a bridge that work together to share and distribute the weight and load from the top of the bridge, so not just one individual is handling all that load. And if you want to know a fun fact, pause this video, rewind it, and take a look at some of the other bridges and structures we've showed you, and see if you can find one common theme, or one shape that stands out. Believe it or not, there's one shape that's famous for building bridges and being the strongest shape in the world. See if you can find out which one it is. Hopefully you guessed it, it's a triangle, and here's a big reason why. You see, in quadrilaterals, look how many degrees of freedom there are, and look how easily they can shift. But check this out, as soon as the shape is split into two triangles, look how rigid it is now, and look how the movement is restricted. So now that you have all that new knowledge, we hope you're excited. Enjoy these last few clips learning about other kinds of bridges, before we'll see you in the next video, where we're going to teach you how to apply the stuff we just learned, and build a bridge for yourself.
Suspension bridges are very beautiful and very useful. They are known for their distinguishing vertical cables, and a famous example is the Golden Gate Bridge in Northern California. Famous arch bridges can be found all over Europe, and they are known for their big circular arch underneath the deck. And although beam bridges are relatively simple, it does not mean that they're useless. Keep your eyes peeled for this style, which is just a deck with vertical supports next time you're driving around town. Pause this video and think, why do different types of bridges exist, and what are the different uses for them? Keep in mind things like what they cross, some of their features, price, which type would be easiest for construction, and more. And happening on your screen right now is a sample truss calculation. You by no means have to understand what's going on here, but we wanted to show you these, just so you're aware of how engineers calculate some of the useful information when designing bridges.